Okay, in this segment, we're on 19 already. Can you believe it? Moving right along. In this segment, I want to address some of the stuff that women do. Okay, because this whole series has been discussing how men will run these little games to get power and control over what you do, what you think, what you say, where you go, what you wear, the whole bit. But as I thought about it, I had to consider the fact that along with the mental manipulations that go on in these games that they play, there is a overwhelming amount of misogyny in the black community that's built into our family structures, our religion, our music. I mean, everything. It's like it's just so deeply ingrained. I think most people don't even really question it. They have these beliefs and these things, these messages that go through their head, and they regurgitate them. You see it online all the time. But when you ask people, where did you get that message from? Who told you that was how you were supposed to operate your life as a woman? They sit there and kind of give you this blank stare. I mean, you can see the gears working when they're trying to figure it out. But my that's my thing. Question everything. And so, since you guys don't, a lot of you don't do that, I do it for you. At least get you started on the path. So what we're gonna do is it's gonna have to be a two-part video because otherwise it would be just ridiculously long. But what I want to do is address what I feel are 10 top things. They're very important. I don't maybe not top because that's gonna the order of them definitely would vary from person, and there might be some things that other people would find more important than these 10 that I've selected. So I'm gonna say the 10 things that from my perspective are deeply impacting black women's ability to be autonomous and to exercise the power that they have. Instead, you guys are you're putting like brakes on and governors on your speed and your power and your energy and everything else in order to meet some imaginary standards that you feel that you have to meet as a woman if you want to have a relationship with a black male. So let me start. The first one that I want to address is the lack of use of condoms. You guys will give in to the whining and the begging that they do because they want to, have sex raw. You'll be hit with, I'm safe, it's okay, even if you get pregnant, I'll be there for you. I'll step up to my responsibilities. I don't have any diseases. I ain't that kind of dude. I mean, all kind of stuff. I mean, you be hit with all kind of stuff. The sad part is that so many women listen, and then you end up with HIV. You end up with genital herpes. You end up with genital warts. You end up with chlamydia. You end up with a host of other kinds of sexually transmitted diseases, including pregnant, that you didn't have to expose yourself to if you just stood strong and kept saying no. I don't understand this. And no, of course, there's going to still be accidents. Of course, condoms break and they come off and, all the stuff. But the technology of condom production has increased so much. I mean, year after year, they get better. So the occasions of condoms breaking is like, less than 1%. So that excuse is really kind of going out the window. If you don't put it on correctly, of course, that increases the risk. By refusing to use proper birth control and condoms, you are basically giving this guy the ticket to have all kinds of interference in your life. By you having a child with him, unless he's going to be the total deadbeat and just disappear, is going to have power to influence where you live, what you can do, because he's going to be requiring his visitation and access to the child. So if you get a job out of state or out of the country, you can't even go without his permission. He can interfere in your life, dragging you back and forth to court, saying that you're a bad mother and this and that. He can fuck up your whole week by not showing up for his visitations when you've made plans. He can do destructive things and say mentally abusive things to the child. He can put the child around people that cause the child harm or great risk. He can, basically just interfere in your life using this child as a tool to do it. Additionally, you have to consider, okay, just say he is the kind that, jumps off and you never see or hear from him again. What does that do to you? Now your life is not only, he may not be there directly controlling it, but he definitely has a hand in what limiting what resources you have available to yourself, what freedoms you have to come and go, where you have to live because you have to have room for the child. I mean, all kind of stuff. All of these things are things that could be avoided for you single women if you took care to not listen to the bullshit that niggas talk about. We can be a family and, have my baby and I'm safe. Don't pay attention to that bullshit. That's just stupid. And you end up, like I said, you got to look at the long-term repercussions. And I know women be like, well, I made it work. Who gives a fuck? I mean, you didn't have to make it work. If you didn't have his fucking baby, then you wouldn't have to go through all them changes. So it's like, I just don't get that. Guys need to care more about yourselves and stop caring about these ashy dick niggas and what they be talking about. Okay, that's point one. Point two, when you take yourself into a situation, you tell him, we need to talk. So you've been kicking it with him for who knows how long. Just say 3 months because that's a nice round number. You've been kicking it with him 3 months. Y'all fucking like bunny rabbits. You have dates, you met some of his friends or whatever. I mean, So here you come with this question. Oh, where is this going? What are we doing? Why do you ask them that? What is the point of that? Every time some woman sends me in my advice column asking me that, telling me, I'm with him and, I don't understand what we are. I don't understand where this is going. I mean, shouldn't you have figured all that out before you dropped them panties? You know what I mean? I mean, you're doing shit backwards. And then you have a problem trying to figure out why you all in your feelings and feeling hurt when he's like just still mopping around, jumping from woman to woman because you never had anything really established about what your goal was. Excuse me. I'm not an advocate as soon as you meet a dude, you start spilling your guts and telling him every single thing that you want because that basically gives him a map to just mess over you. That's stupid too. But what you have to do is after you date him a while, you don't think about what he wants. You think about what you want. What works for you? What does he do that you like? What does he do that you don't like? You are the one who needs to be making an assessment about the relationship without depending on him to do it for you. Stop giving him that kind of power. And basically what you're doing when you do that kind of stuff is you waiting for him to direct your life. You waiting for him to acknowledge you and validate you as, relationship worthy or something. I don't know what you guys be thinking, but it's like you're waiting for him to give you permission to be happy, with the relationship and with your life. He doesn't have that kind of power over you unless you give it to him. And that's the mistake that you guys make. You just give these guys all this power and control that they don't need to have. So you don't ask him, where's this going? You don't ask him, what are we doing? You fucking tell him. And if he doesn't agree, then you get rid of him. And that's how that works. You don't just put your whole life in somebody else's hands. So he, after you do your assessment, if you decide this is something that you want and you want it to go further, you might want to, I don't know, people like to live together, whatever. You want the full title. You want, for it to be headed towards marriage. You tell him that's what you want. Tell him what your time frame is for it to happen and ask him if he has objections to that. This is the time to do it before you get all wrapped in and, start having joint bank accounts and buying dogs together and, getting this all mixed up with each other's family and friends and stuff. You don't do that. You get the situation established based on your assessment of who he is and how who he is meets your needs. That's it. That's all you're supposed to be thinking about. You don't ask his ass shit until you're ready to see if he's ready to go with your program. If he's not, then you say, well, it was cool and everything but deuces. And if he is, then y'all, hold hands and jump off the cliff together or jump the broom or whatever you jumping you gonna do. But there has to be some decisiveness, and it has to come from your side. Stop giving men all this power to direct your life. Point three. God, why am I so allergic today? Point three. Y'all will spout this rhetoric. I swear it just makes me want to throw up. You ain't say, what kind of man are you looking for? Sisters will inevitably use this phrase right here. I want a God-fearing man. What the fuck does that even mean? Y'all just would say some shit you heard some other dumb bitches say. That gets on my nerves. Use your own fucking brain. Stop repeating shit that dumb people say, and then you sound dumb too. Because it's like, what does that mean? Does it mean that you want a man who has good morals? Do you want a man who has similar values to you? Do you want a man who works hard, who doesn't cheat, who doesn't lie? Then say that. Don't be putting that umbrella God-fearing. And plus, who wants a man who's scared anyway? I don't want no cowardly ass man sitting in the corner, cowering, talking about he's afraid of some shit he can't even see. That would just make me just want to slap the black off of him. But that is what you guys say. Nobody really knows what the fuck it means. And, there's a whole bunch of dudes walking around saying that they're that because they know that's what you want to hear. See, so every time when you say stuff like that, you're just giving him all this power because it's like a playbook. By knowing that you want this thing, he knows, A, you lack intelligence because you don't even know why you're saying that. You haven't broken it down into what each and every detail of that means. So if you can't do that, and you just start using these trite phrases like that, he knows that your intellect is not too tight, and he's gonna run game on you like there is no tomorrow. So when you guys say these things, you basically set yourself up as a cookie cutter broad, because you're using cookie cutter phrases, and you telling him what he needs to do and say to get you to jump through hoops. Because now all he got to do is put on the I'm a God-fearing man suit, like the wolf in sheep's clothing. He put on the God-fearing man clothing, and you just all crazy because you just think you just hit, found a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And he's nothing of the sort. He's just gaming on you because you've told him. See, you're not supposed to be opening your mouth telling all this stuff. You're supposed to be watching what the nigga does. Listen to what the nigga says. Do his stories match up? Do his actions match what his words say? If they don't, you got a problem. You guys stop just being so, I don't even know. It's just kind of frustrating to see so many black women make the same mistake by the thousands. And, you guys go out here and you think that, that you're being so different and unique and special with your desires of what you want. These men have set up scripts to run on you based on what you say to these questions about what kind of man you're looking for. You're not supposed to tell him what kind of man you're looking for. You just tell him, I have it in my head. I'm going to just see if you meet what my standards are as we move along. That's all the information you give a nigga. You don't be telling his ass shit about what you want. Because you can bet 2 seconds later, he's going to be magically become that thing. All right? And point number 4. When you guys are cooking, you're going to cook some food. And you have this man you kicking it with, or seeing whatever. And you ask his black ass, what do you want for dinner? Why do you do that? What is this, the restaurant where you a short order cook? You don't ask his ass that. You're buying the food, you're carting the food home, you're cooking the food, and most likely you're going to be the one cleaning up after dinner and putting the food away in the refrigerator if there are any leftover. Okay, so that's 5 things that you're doing, and you're going to try to, bend over backwards to please his ass. That funky nigga better sit his ass down at the table and be happy for whatever's set in front of him. That's what you do. You stop spoiling these men. You just treat them like kids. Like, oh, hi, baby, what can mommy fix for you? That's how that sounds. It's like that's not the deal. Unless he going to buy the food and then you cook it. Because I had some dudes like that, they'd be like, well, what you cook? I'm like, whatever the fuck you buy, nigga. I'm not feeding your black ass. And then they just get all offended. I'm like, shit, fuck you. Eat wherever whatever bitch's house is stupid enough to feed you, because that ain't me. So then they like, but you cook so good. Well, then you know what the price of admission is to take this ride. What you want me to tell you? So then they were like, well, I want you to make this and that, blah, blah, blah. I get a as a shopping list, and I include some other shit I need too, because my service fee for cooking. So then here they come, they bring the groceries, I cook the food. Now, what is the benefit of that to me? They got what they wanted, right? They got this meal that they cooked. I got to eat free. My kid gets to eat free. Plus, I got some stuff left over. He can take some for lunch if he wants to, but motherfucker, I'm having lunch too. So, I'm the one that did all the work. So, I mean, in a situation like that, it saved me on my food bill. I'm cool with that. But don't think that I am going to be like calling you up, asking you what you want to eat, and it's coming out of my pocket. That's not going to happen. And you guys will do that. It's when you got kids and shit, and you worried about what this nigga want to eat. That nigga better be happy to get a hot dog and a can of SpaghettiOs. I don't understand what you guys be doing. And, really, like any man who's a decent dude, he knows you got kids to feed, and he wants to eat at your house. He's supposed to be coming to the door with a bag of groceries. He's not supposed to be coming to the door empty-handed with a smile on his face, talking about how hungry he is. Please, y'all just way too nice. You just do way too much for these men and just spoil them rotten. So that is point 4. Do not ever ask a man what he wants to eat. You fix what you want to cook or what's available in your refrigerator, and then if he wants some, he can eat. If not, he can take his ass on to whatever fast food places nearby and just make it happen. Okay? And point number 5 that I think is really important is the black women who will claim that they don't believe in feminism. Now, there's a lot of rhetoric in the black community about feminism destroying the black community. It's it's the black women are all doing too much, and they're just against black men. And a woman who's a feminist, that means that she's against men and she's promoting lesbianism and blah blah blah. I think Pat Robertson has a phrase he used that is just like gone viral, which I will put up on the screen so you can see that shit. And unfortunately, a lot of black men being conservative Christian minded when it comes to women. Now keep in mind, they ain't conservative Christian minded when it comes to where they put their dick. It's only about what you do. Let's keep that straight. So when it comes to judging women and controlling women and telling women what they need to do with their bodies, their coochies, their time, everything, okay, then they suddenly turn into Pat Robertson. So when you have a situation like that and you feel like, okay, I want to get this man's approval, I want to be married, so I have to adopt the thinking that he does and, be like on his side, on his team. What you have essentially done is chopped your own neck off to get some dick. That's what you have done. There's no woman in this world who should not be an advocate for herself. And that is what feminism is. It is about making sure that women are treated as citizens with equal power and an equal voice. Now, that is not being played out in many countries of the world where there are child brides. Women suffer from mercy killings. If they get raped, it's their fault. They get sold by their parents into sex slavery. All kinds of things are going on with women around the world that just totally points out how we are not being treated equally to the way that men are. Like even in China, they went through, this was like in the 70s and 80s, they had that one child rule. Well now, in the 90s and 2000s, these young men that, they killed off like millions of baby girls. So because every parent could only have one child, they wanted to have a son to help them with their farms, to carry on the family business, whatever. So now in China, it's like, 100 boys to every one girl. So these guys, you got all these horny young men trying to figure out how they're going to have a wife and, carry on their family heritage when there's no women to marry. Now, what happened to all those millions of baby girls? They were killed. Why? Because they weren't seen as equal to males. So this is the same kind of thing that's going on here. And black women, unfortunately, the heads all fucked up about, this male being dominant and all this old stuff, which I'll go into in the next video. But you guys have got to understand that feminism is not evil. Feminism is what gives you the right to do things that you were not allowed to do before, like vote, like have credit in your own name, even if you're married. You could go out and buy a car. You could open up a store, credit card, or a Visa or American Express. And this shit happened in my lifetime. So don't tell me how, this always been this way. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. This happened in my lifetime. I remember it. So, and for women to have the right to use birth control without their husband's consent. I mean, all of this is new. This is stuff that just happened because of feminism. You have these rights now. You can be a pilot. You can be a fire chief, a police captain. You can be a police officer. All these kinds of things that women fought for you to have the right to do, just like our ancestors fought for us to have the right to vote and to have access to equal housing and all this stuff during the civil rights movement. It's the same thing. So when I see women who turn their back on it, what it basically tells me is that you're stupid. That's what that means. You would rather promote the interests of some ashy dick nigger over the interests of yourself and your daughters. That's what you're basically saying. And that means to me, like I said, there's a lacking of understanding here and a very low level of intelligence, because you don't even understand the grand scope of what you're saying and what you're doing to yourself and the long-term repercussions of your attitude. You think that it's going to make you more endeared to a man. All it does is let him know that you're stupid and he can run more games on you, because you don't even have the belief in yourself as being worthy of treatment like he's going to get for himself. You don't feel like you're worth it just because you're a woman. And oh boy, will the games be run on you. So this video, I'm trying to not make these things too long, because I want to have, people have time to go back and listen to them and take notes, or, post questions or whatever. So I'm going to break this into two parts. This was 1 through 5 of the 19th video in the series of the manipulative things black men say to make black women jump through hoops. My name is Deborrah Cooper. I'm advice columnist, social researcher, and blogger on survivingdating.com and askheartbeat.com. I also host a radio podcast show on Blog Talk Radio. The URL is on the final slide here. And I do welcome your comments and questions. Thanks for listening. Please post a comment if you have one. Please rate the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date on what's going on around here, because it's going to be hopping as I move forward. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.